might be sitting on it.
Test. Can you hear me, Jared? I can hear you.
The time is now 6 o'clock and we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Bartman, will you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the approval of the minutes for December 6, 2023 for the business meeting. There were some changes, but Chris just sent you the updated list and you also have a copy in front of you. I move that we approve the minutes from December 6th.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the election of officers 2024. We start with president. Do I have any nominations?
And I nominate Jill.
I nominate Libby.
Okay, I have a nomination for myself and I have a nomination for Libby. Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of myself remaining president, please vote yea.
Yay.
Yay. Any nays? I have, Libby, did you
I
vote?
abstain.
Okay, so it's 2, 1, and 1, so the motion carries because the majority has it in with the yays. Next up will be the vice president. I nominate Lillian. Are there other nominations?
I nominate Libby.
So I have a nomination for Lillian and a nomination for Libby. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, those in favor of Lillian being the vice president, please say yay.
Yay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I have 2, 2, so the motion does not carry, so we will continue with no vice president until the 5th member is on the board.
Point of order,
Yes?
you had a second nomination with no vote?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right, I am. I'm sorry. All those in favor of Libby being vice president, say yay.
Yay. Yay.
And all those any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So again, it's 2, 2 with no majority. It'll come back to the board once the 5th member is on the board. All of it will come back, the president and the vice president. We will redo the entire vote.
But Libby abstained, so the vote actually passed 2-1.
Yeah, actually it did. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that one shouldn't be, so that's just the vice.
okay, just the vice president. Thank you. All right. Informational reports, summary of current events. We'll start with Dr. J.
Madam President, members of the board and guests, it's been a quiet 2 weeks, which has been nice. So I know the staff truly enjoys time off with their families, and I made some rounds today. Today was a work day for our teachers, which is something that we put in the calendar, which has been very popular, and I think the staff really appreciates having a day to get back into things and be able to enjoy the full amount of their break time. Students will be returning tomorrow. The one thing about this calendar this year, which is a little odd, is that we went on break on a Thursday, and we come back on a Thursday. But for some of our students, especially our younger ones, having a short week, I think will pay off for teachers, and the students will have 2 days to get back into a rhythm, and then a full week following. So very pleased to have that time off. I know I used it to spend a lot of time with family and it was just a very wonderful time. So we really, the only few things that we've had going on over the break is we've started working with a local videographer to do marketing videos. So they came and did some shots with no one in the school, which is something they wanted to do. They wanted to have empty space to work with first, and then they'll come back for a day to shoot the middle school and high school first. So those will be the first videos that will come out. Then they'll go over to Little Falcons, and then they will go over to McDowell Mountain last as they're waiting on the building to be complete. What we have basically worked out is we'll have 7 marketing videos. Each site will have their own, about 2 minutes or less, and it will highlight programs, highlight staff, highlight things that we're proud of. And then there will be 3 short 1-minute videos that hit on something that either comes out in the video that they want to expand on, or it may just be on things that we pick, like the Honors and Gifted program at the middle school, or we might talk about AP Capstone or Portrait of a Graduate, something like that. So we'll wait to see what they come back to us with, but when it's all said and done, we'll have 7 videos. They'll be short and to the point, and it'll help us get our message across to the things that we're doing here. So we're very excited about that. We're at the time now where it's a lot of planning for testing, so we're starting to look at all the things we need to do to get ready for state testing, which will be here before we know it. And we're starting to look at planning for next year. So we have Meet and Confer starting. We have conversations at the district level about initiatives and things that we're trying to get done. We'll be doing schedules soon. We're going to go back and meet with teachers about what are some things that they'd like to see us try to work when it comes to the schedules to make them better and improve upon them. But that's kind of an update there. Lastly, we do have a book that the Literary Committee is putting out on display. The book is called Unbroken, and it will be on display starting tomorrow, and then it'll come back to you for approval at a later time. So that is the only additional book that has come through the Literary Committee since the ones we're looking at tonight.
And where is that? What grade? What?
Middle school. It's middle school. So they try to do it by either grade level, and at the upper levels they pick like middle school or high school level, and then if it needs to be more specific, they do that. But this one was just for middle school. Yeah.
Is there a specific class it's associated with?
I would have to go back and take a look at that some more. I remember when we looked at it a long time ago. I'm not sure why it didn't get on the first time. It may have been that they didn't have a copy of it and they needed to wait for the copy. But we've looked at a lot of books over the period of time. I'd have to go back and look at which class they're doing it for. Do you know off the top of your head?
I can pull up that literary committee
Okay.
review, but,
I thought it was social studies, but it could be wrong.
Okay. Well, once you find out, please let us know.
Okay, yeah.
yeah. I have it right here, actually, Joe.
Okay.
Seventh grade. It's a World War II novel, so I would imagine it's social studies. It doesn't say,
So it'd be social studies, English, depending on what they want to do.
yeah, it doesn't say which class, it just says seventh grade. I do know it's a classroom set of
Okay. Thank you. Was that your concern?
Yep, that concludes my comments.
Are there any other questions for Dr. J regarding his report?
I was hoping that we could get an update regarding the playgrounds at McDowell Mountain, please.
Sure. So the 1 of 3 is installed. They are, Kevin is out this week, and they are going to be doing a passport day tomorrow, which is going over expectations as part of their PBIS. And then once they get through all the classes, that one will open just for lunch recess, 1 class at a time. And then the other one, there was some pieces that were not shipped that need to be shipped out. It was a couple of support poles And they had originally hoped that it would ship by December 18th. Andrew is still working on getting me a definitive date. Once the date is locked in and it ships, he has told me that they will get the crew back out to install as quick as possible, so hopefully right away. Little Falcons is done. It was approved by the licensing company over the break, and that will open tomorrow, so that one will be done. And the kindergarten playground at McDowell Mountain has been open for about 2 weeks now, and so that's kindergarten, first grade, and that one is, they've been using that along with the basketball court, so that one is open.
So is the second pad completely installed and we're just waiting for the PBIS passport things to happen, or is it still?
The first one?
Not the K one, because I understand
Yeah.
that one's been installed.
Yeah.
But the second one that
Yeah.
we're waiting on, is it completely installed or is it
Yes.
still?
So there's 3 pieces that are going out there. The first piece is installed, and that one's ready to go. It was ready before the break, but Kevin, the day he wanted to do it, it rained, and he didn't want to have the first day be on a rain day. So then he pushed it back to when we got back, and now that he's out, whenever he's out, it's just one less person on duty. So we will probably head over, Chris and I, and help with that, especially Friday. But it's more of just with anything new. When we do the library, we're going to do the same thing. Like, here's expectations for how to use the dome and how to utilize the iPads and things that are going to be out and available so that they can, it's a new area for them that they need to go through. So, but it's ready to go. The second one, I'm hoping within the next week or two, they'll be installing it. Takes about a week to do. And then the third one is scheduled for the end of February, and then that one will be in. So they're going to do the shade over spring break just because of the fact that it's very disruptive work. They have to dig pretty deep footers, and I just didn't want them doing that with the kids there. So they're going to do it, at least that work over spring break, and then the work that's similar to like putting playgrounds together where it's just putting something together that's less of a disruption. They can do that with the kids there, but the footers they need to do when the kids are on break.
Any other questions? Thank you. Governing board reports. Start with Madison.
I don't have a ton to report, but I did want to say thank you for hitting the ground running. It sounds like you've got really good things starting. I'm excited about the marketing, and I'm also excited to hear from the meet and confer what comes out of that. And then the other thing, I'm really excited with the new year. I feel like it always brings that spirit of, approaching things with a new vision and new determination and all of those new feelings. And so I'm excited for the year that's ahead of us. I'm excited for the potential that I know we have here, and I'm excited for the work that I know that we can get done. So thank you.
Libby?
I have nothing.
Lily?
Welcome back, everybody. In December, right after the board meeting, I attended the Arizona School Board Association meeting, and it was really well attended, learned lots of things. My biggest gripe is that I was really lonely. It would have been nice to have people from up here with us. I'm assuming next year we'll have more people because there will be new members that should be going. I did get a little bit of information on a few things that they talked about, that it was possible to maybe get money for roofing and other things like that, and I passed that along to Kane. I attended a kindergarten concert, which was really well attended. Then I went to the middle school and high school concert, and I have to admit the band's really impressive, especially seeing the kids that just started in August or September, and they were able to play quite a bit, so it was great. And I did get the pleasure of seeing the Little Falcons perform at Fountain View Village, which was adorable, and then they were treated to cookies and hot chocolate. So that was a lot of fun to finish off the year like that.
Thank you. I don't have much to report. I just want to say that I did notice the sign at the high school
Oh,
And
yeah.
So that looks really nice.
Do you want me to give you an update on that?
That would be great.
I'm sorry. We just had a lot going on today. So the marquee at Little Falcons is in. They're figuring out some power to it for whatever reason. John went over there tonight to look at it, but they're gonna have to come out again and take a look at that. I don't remember that working since I've been back, the marquee itself.
At McDowell, at the old McDowell?
Yes,
Yeah.
but-
It's had issues forever.
But our understanding is it does work, it just might be a power issue. And at the high school, it is in. They also have turned the power on there, and then there's a training session on the new software that I need to attend. And then once I do that, I will then be a trainer of trainers. I'll train the rest of the staff on how to do it. It's all web-based, cloud-based, so they can do it from home, which is really nice. So the estimated on the middle school one is to start sometime in February, right now is where they're at. But I did check with the town, and everything they told me was we were good to move forward with it, so there was no issues.
There's no issues with the water main break out there?
It's on a different corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's nice and clean looking.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Reports, student activity and auxiliary reports. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a couple.
Yep, go ahead.
So on the middle school activities report, there's a spelling error that I'd just like to have fixed.
Can you tell us what that is?
So it's page 16,
Okay.
and it's account 944 for volleyball. And then I have a question on account 110 for salary reimbursement. Whose salary is currently being reimbursed through these student funds?
It's Garnett Pennington. It's my understanding this is the last year that PTO is going to cover the portion of her salary. So we just want to make sure it was coded correctly to ensure that there's transparency in that.
Okay. And then my last question on also that same report on page 18, our athletics shows a negative balance. How does that happen, and then how do we plan to resolve that?
So that's a rollover, and I'm currently working on reconciling everything for last year to make sure that those get updated appropriately.
So this is a rollover from last year? Because I thought that our, October reports were final from last year and not everything was fixed, but we're still dealing with issues from last year.
When we did the rollover, one or two accounts did not actually truly roll over. So I have Tyler and I are working on finding out exactly why that happened. So my original reports were correct, but when I pulled the newest report, it showed a negative. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly why that happened. But it will be corrected. No matter what, we're gonna bring that up to 0.
So can we have an update as to what the issue was and why it happened, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
That was my question.
And then I guess I have one more, sorry.
Sure.
Account 530, I think it's down on the next level. The gifts and donations was also negative on the summary of operations report. Negative by 170,000.
What page are you on?
22.
The computer froze, so give me a second.
Oh, okay. Yep, give some donations.
You said 22?
Yes.
That is a coding error in our system that I need to correct. And it'll be corrected on the December.
What do you mean it's a coding error? Why would it be coding?
When it rolled over, the account code was incorrect, and so it got paid against the incorrect account code. I just have to do a journal entry to correct it and push it to the correct account code.
So
It should have been paid to 526.
So are you saying then that the beginning cash balance of gift and donations is incorrect?
No, the beginning cash balance is correct. It's 170. It's the year-to-date expenditures that need to be corrected.
By how much?
I'd have to look at the invoice. It was for the football field to match what the tax credit contributions were.
Can we also have that information, please? Thanks.
Yes.
And the same with food services. Why is that 307 in the negative?
Food services are reimbursable,
Mhm.
so it'll correct itself as the year goes on.
Any other questions?
Not on this report.
Okay, moving on.
I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
That's
I should
okay.
have up here.
So that was student activity and auxiliary accounts. Next would be the unaudited financial report, which we were just discussing. Are there any other questions regarding that report? Hearing none. Current enrollment. Are there any questions regarding the current enrollment report? We are up 2 students. Last month was 1161. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Do we have Stugo here?
Oh, you guys are not on our, you're not on our agenda.
So can we do it during public comment?
Yeah, why don't you guys come up during public comments?
Yeah. They looked a little young to be.
Well, there was a teacher that used to have them come as part of their class.
Oh, nice.
So that Mrs. Pruitt used to make them come to one school board meeting for her history, or for her social studies class. So
I think January was the only one we didn't have you on
Mhm.
the memo that I sent to Mr. Keating because you guys weren't even in school. So I'm sorry that you were still
You guys are awesome.
that's okay. We love that you're here. We can't wait to hear your report, so go for it.
So, good evening. I'm Emerson Uphaw.
I'm Caitlin Smout.
We're both from Stugo. I'm the secretary.
I'm senior class president.
And yeah, so we just kind of have a summary of like what past events we've had and what future ones. So we did in the past last month, just a couple weeks before we got out for break, we did like hall decorating. So it was like deck the halls, and each grade had their own section of a hallway to decorate, and we had 4 different themes. So
And then on, I think it was December 8th, we hosted a movie night on the football field. We had a big blow-up screen. We showed Home Alone. We had pizza, hot cocoa, and popcorn. We decorated the bleacher with some fairy lights. It was really fun. A lot of people showed up, brought blankets and pillows. Some people brought like an inflatable couch on the field. That was fun. And then hoop coming.
Oh yeah, so Hoop Coming is our next big dance coming up. I believe it's February 10th, I think. So it's gonna kind of tie in. And so far our theme is neon right now. So sophomores usually pick theme and decorations for Hoop Coming, and yeah, so we'll be doing a pep assembly too.
Yeah, I'm planning the pep assembly for that, and I'm gonna try to come up with some new games than we've had in the past. Like I want to do a hula hooping contest because times with hoop coming, and then some basketball games. I think that's it. And then Valentine's Day we may sell candygrams or sell flowers or something too as a little fundraiser. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have one public comment. Call to the public. This is the time for the public to comment. Time limits may be allocated on public comment at the discretion of the board president for the board to efficiently complete its business. The board reserves the right to prohibit any comments made in a discourteous or threatening manner. Complaints about specific individuals, students, or personnel are discouraged. Personnel issues should be directed to the appropriate staff member or administrator per district policy. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Ms. Bartman.
I'm Kim Barton, parent of a senior at Fountain Hills High who's been in the district since kindergarten. I am excited for Maricopa's Superintendent Steve Watson to choose a replacement for Dana Sarr. I'm hopeful that person will bring us all together and to really support and believe in public school, public education, and work together with you all and Dr. Jagodinsky. Thank you.
Thank you. An update on that is that the last set of interviews will be taking place on January 16th, and Superintendent Watson's office has told me that by the end of January, they are hoping to have appointed somebody. We will wait. Next up are action items. The first one is the personnel report. Are there any questions or comments?
I do have a comment. I was disappointed to see a baseball coach returning when a student was injured and some family parents had issues and nothing was done with that to my knowledge. So I am disappointed, for lack of a better term, to see that name appear back.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding the personnel report? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the personnel report.
I second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
I have 2 yeses and 2 nays, so the motion does not carry.
So I move that we approve the personnel action report with the removal of Mike Madra, the baseball coach.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay.
Nay.
So again, it's 2-2, so it still does not carry. Kaylee, can you please bring this back to us at our next, and can you please update us on the situation with Coach Madra prior to that meeting? Thank you.
I'm going to have Chris do that. He was the one who looked into that for the district, and he can reach out to you guys.
Would this coach be the head coach, or he's an assistant? Who's the head coach? Is it Bobby?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, Bobby.
Bob Lane.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So, just clarification, none of these people will be able to continue work then as of tomorrow, correct?
No, they can still continue working, we're already paid them, you guys are just approving the afterwork, but they were expected.
Okay, we'll get guidance from Dave and I'll have Chris to send that out.
All right. Payroll vouchers, pages 26 to 28. Are there any questions regarding the payroll vouchers? Hearing none, I move that the payroll vouchers be approved.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up are the accounts payable vouchers. I have some questions on these. One, the board did not receive the check, the individual checks, the check listing. We received the grouping for the voucher, but we did not receive an individual sheet showing each check and who it was cut to. And then I have some issues with the vouchers that were in there. On voucher 2019, once again, we're paying AAA rollout a late fee of $56.38. Do we know why?
Alicia, I'm sorry, can you come up briefly? Thank you.
We received a late invoice for some damage that was done to some dumpsters, and it was sent originally to the facilities director, and accounts payable did not receive it until it was too late, until it was past the due date, so a late fee was added onto it.
When that happens, do we call and try to get them to?
We do.
We do, and I requested that all of our business with that company, not because of that, but just in general, that we're not doing any more work and we're not paying any more money out to them moving forward. All those rentals have been, I asked for those to all be eliminated about a month and a half ago. Yeah, so it might take a little time for them to be completely out of the system, but I told John that we can no longer have those rentals anymore, so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then on that same invoice is WEX. So there are charges here, a reactivation fee, what is that?
I do not know. I can look into that and get back to you. I've reached out to WEX twice and haven't gotten a response, so I will have Tammy reach out to them.
Okay, and then on that same invoice from them, there's a monthly card charge of $88, a program maintenance something of $12, and then a finance charge of $556.25.
We are requesting that finance charge be removed. We sent them a check and they did not do any, they hadn't received it yet. It was sent 2 months ago, so we finally got them to track it down. So we're asking them to reverse that fee. The other ones, I can work with John to find out what exactly those are from.
Okay. Did you have another one on 2019?
I do, I have a couple. Mine was back specific to the AAA roll-off rentals. Do we know what staff put the motor oil in the container?
I honestly don't know. I know that happened with the consolidation, so I'm not sure exactly who might have done it.
Okay. And then another one on Logicalis, the PO says no invoices received and payment is past due. So again, how are we planning to address these?
For Logicalis,
On page 188 of the. It doesn't appear that they've assessed a late payment fee.
can I look into that and get back to you?
Sure. And then I have one more. It carries between 2019 and 2020, which is why I was kind of asking for the check listing. We made a payment to Maricopa County Environmental Services Department for our food service fee permit. It appears that we paid for the same permit twice between both 2019 and 2020. If I look at the permit number that accompanies the invoices.
Okay.
In packet 2019, it's on page 149. And then in packet 2020, it appears to be on page 95. And then Dr. J, while she looks into that, I don't know if you're the right person that can answer this, but it appears that we let our permit lapse, and we had a permit reinstatement fee for that.
For which one? For
Our
what?
food service class 3 permit.
I'd have to talk to Scott. Scott handles, he's always been on top of all that stuff for us. I mean, that's part of their keeping everything up and date and current, and he, the last time I met with him, he did not bring that up. So I'd have to talk to Scott and see what his take is on that, and where he's at with that. Okay? I do have information on the Logicalis, though. Tammy reached out to them on August 29th, asking, they'd sent something about past due, and she had said, would you mind sending me the copies of those? He wrote back in August 30th and said, I will have those copies and voice requests sent to you. She reached out again on November 27th and still had not received those invoices from them. So I don't think it's as much of a, on this one, I don't think it's as much of a Fountain Hills issue as a Logic Health issue. And Tammy has been very on top of paying things on time. So I would imagine that it's more that she hasn't received anything from them. And that's probably why they haven't assigned any fee, is because they haven't followed through on their end.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any more on 2020?
On 2020, yes.
Okay, go ahead, 2020.
So we have a couple, again, past due with Dick Blick and Flynn Scientific. That just disappointing to continue to see past due notations, and want to ensure that we are not letting that continue to slip through the crack. And then just an overall statement that, I appreciate our staff receiving continuing education, but it's sad for me personally to see them going to restorative justice seminars. And then a question for Dr. J with the Next Gen school visits. So anytime staff wants to visit a Next Gen site, we have to pay a fee, or is there other training that is happening with those Next Gen visits?
Yeah, I don't know of any staff on our finance team that went to that training.
Next Gen,
No, yeah.
the restorative justice was a different one, but the Next Gen,
I thought, okay, I just thought that was in relation to the finance team, so no, I'd have to look into that. As far as ASU Next Gen, they have gotten so popular nationwide that they are now having to, charge for visits out to the schools. We have worked, Chris is working with them on being that we were someone who adopted early, that we had asked if we could continue to receive services. He's still working with them. We are evaluating how the program's going with our 4th and 5th grade. Like I said in my comments earlier, when it comes to scheduling, we're always going to look at, anything that's a new initiative, what is working, what's not working. Is this something we can do on our own? Is it something that we need their help with? Those will all be things that we'll be talking about in the spring as we go through that. Just like with the trimester schedule, what is working? We already found some things in scheduling that we want to fix for next year. Having the last period of the day, we don't want classes that are only offered one time in the day, because it really makes it hard for kids who want to do the sports classes. So that was something we didn't foresee. Affected one student in the school, but if it affects one student, we should look to fix that. But as far as Next Gen, we'll get an update. Chris will get one, and do you have one now?
Not necessarily an update, but I'm not sure what the specific charge that you're asking about. There was one teacher that was not with us when we originally sent teachers back in the spring, that was new to us this year, that we did send in the fall.
Right.
She hadn't been able to see those, so she went to a training and that kind of thing. So she was the only one that I'm aware of that we sent this year.
And we had to do that to get into the
We didn't
program.
have to, it was mainly for her.
But I'm saying we all went early as part of the process.
Correct.
And we wanted the new teacher to have that opportunity as well. Yeah.
And we can go visit Next Gen schools. We can reach out to those schools specifically and get tours. We don't have to run through ASU. So if we wanted to go see a school and talk to principals and teachers, we could certainly do that. We did that actually last spring with one of the Mesa elementary schools, and that wasn't through ASU. I contacted the principal personally and arranged that.
And I just want to point out, I visited Smith Junior High as part of my visit, and I was very impressed with the work that that principal was doing. And I actually reached out to him and said, would you mind if I came back? And I had further questions, and I wanted to see more of the school. And he scheduled about a 2 to 3 hour block of time for me. Took me to all of the classrooms, met with teachers. That's part of the process. It's the networking of what works at a school. Not everything's going to work in Fountain Hills. It works somewhere else. But you find the things that work, and you take those things back to your campus. And so the networking and the ability to go see high levels of team teaching and collaboration, I think is worth it. I've already said we're not going to pay that fee to have them come out to our campus. We've already made that decision and talked to 4th and 5th grade about that. But they can go visit other campuses, and then we're going to look at the viability of the program at the end of the year. Is this something we want to continue with? The good thing is the elementary schedule, whether they use it or not, doesn't need to be changed. We thought about that up front. If we don't like this and it doesn't work out, we won't do it. We said it was a pilot year. We've always said this was a year to pilot and see if we wanted to do it. I think 4th grade is having a lot of success with it. They have been together the whole year. There's 2 of them have been together for 2 years now. 5th grade had a lot of new members on the team, and I think they're not as far along. But it's something we'll look at for next year and get teacher feedback and see if it's what we want to do.
Do you have any more on 2020?
Those were 4 things.
I wanted to go back to the Blick art materials. So Blick originally sent their invoice back in July, and then they sent us a reminder in August. There on the invoice, it shows that we received as of September, and it wasn't paid, the check wasn't cut till December.
Okay.
Why does it take so long? Why is it taking us 4 months to get these people paid?
So the only thing that I can say is that sometimes we don't get it directly in the finance department. Sometimes it goes to the campus and it sits on desks until they can forward it to us. We do try to reach out to people and get them to send us what they can when they can, but we don't know who orders some of our items. And when reaching out to the vendors, the response is they send the invoice to the person that ordered, and that's not necessarily us.
Okay, then we need to come up with some sort of protocol, and there needs to be some training on this, because, our audit was terrible, and I'm not blaming the staff because there were a lot of issues, but we can't keep moving forward like that. We just had a new discrepancy come up on the updated audit. There were a lot of things corrected. I commend you guys for doing that. But we have to find some sort of protocol. Things like this can't sit on someone's desk. Like, how do we fix this?
Well, I agree that we can definitely Mr. Rudolphi's been coming in and working on some procedures for the finance team. He's volunteering his time and putting in procedures on paper so that everyone has them. That's already in progress. But I want to tell you, the reason you have a lot of this is turnover. And that is going to unfortunately continue, I believe, to be an issue, because when you look at the number of people that have come through these positions over the last 5 to 7 years, when they leave, you have somebody else starting over, they're learning again that position, and you have whatever training you did, that training is now gone, you have to start over. So I think the first step to fixing it is you have to fix the turnover issue. Now, so far, we had one last year in finance that left. That was a big one. She'd been here a long time. She retired, and that hurt us. But her replacement has come in. She's doing good work. I think she's very happy in her job, and will continue to do that. So it's a combination of retaining staff and then also continuing to put procedures in place. I'm very pleased with the work that's been done. In fact, when I met with the Auditor General, they were very, very pleased with our work. They said this, in the time we've had, that they were very pleased and didn't expect to be back anytime soon. So that's good. But again, we've only, we didn't have a finance director till December. We knew going in, she's new at her job, it's gonna take a little time. Tyler's, still helping us. But where we were and where we're at now, I think is night and day difference. And now it's, you hone in on the little things and you keep knocking them out one at a time until you get it to where you don't have those issues anymore. So I think that's our process of how we'll go about it.
I understand that turnover definitely affects the system and the process of things. However, I work mostly in hiring independent contractors, and so I'm always working with new people. There has to be some way to systematize things that there's a process that doesn't allow for these errors. When someone orders right now, what's the process for them to place an order, and at what point would they come into contact with finance to either get it approved or to make sure that it gets taken care of?
So right now, whoever needs the item will give that information to the site secretary, who enters the requisition into the system, goes through its routing for approval, and then once it's approved and turned into a PO, that secretary gets it back so that she can either forward that information to the person that is requesting so they can order it, or she orders it directly.
So then where would the invoice be lost? Because wouldn't it be sent to the site secretary, who then should immediately know to forward it to finance?
Not if she sends it to the teacher. So if she sends it to whoever's requesting the information to make that order, when they get it.
The secretary or the vendor?
The employee who's requesting who wants the product or service. So they'll do their order. They'll do their order. They submit
their
the
own order.
Correct.
Okay. And so then the invoice is being sent from the vendor directly to the teacher or whoever is?
Correct.
Okay. And so they are unaware that the invoice should be passed to the site secretary or to finance? Okay.
We've asked Tammy to reach out to some of the vendors that we use a lot and say, they all have to come here, number one. Number two, if they're, I've made it very clear with the staff that there should be no after-action report, or after the fact, sorry. And I've even told Tammy to call these companies and say, why are you shipping something, or why are you sending something without any kind of, send it back to them. They also need to follow procedures, and especially when they're working with schools that have purchase orders. So you have a lot of coaches, teachers, staff that order things. We have done trainings with all the principals, all the secretaries. We've walked them through it. And again, I believe it just will take a little more time for them to get into a rhythm. Some of these vendors, like BSN, we use BSN a lot, they need to know that you don't send it, everything goes to the district office. Tammy's reaching out to those people and letting them know that so that we don't have those issues moving forward.
I don't want to make it hard for teachers to get what they need, but is there a way to funnel it all through the site secretary for ordering so that they give him or her a list and that person orders it, so that at least it's centralized to one person per site, so that we're not.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to when I coached, you turn it into the athletic director, and the athletic director, ordered it for you. I mean, that's how it was done. So yes, I think that, individual teachers should be putting an order into whoever is responsible for purchasing at that site, and it goes from there. I do agree with that. It's a lot of process, and a lot of teachers and coaches will struggle with the fact that how long it takes to get something. And I've always tried to explain to coaches, especially coaches, you can't expect to order something, be here next week. Like, you need to think way in advance, way in advance. And, that's just the way it's got to be. And we've told our principals that, you not doing that doesn't make it where it's automatically going to get done. I never wanted to go to Rob Allen and say, hey, I need this tomorrow. Like, that was not a conversation I wanted to have with him. And we're explaining that to our principals, that is not the way you want to do things. I don't think it's principals. I think a lot of it is people that order on their own, and they get things done, and then they don't follow through with the back end of it. So that is something we can continue to clean up.
Because they should have purchase orders before they even place an order.
Absolutely.
Right, but if the teacher or staff member's placing the order and then they don't realize that just
They're
because they
getting
have the purchase order, that the invoice isn't going to the district office, I agree
Right.
with Madison. Like, I think we need to have a designated person at a site that does the ordering. That if we can't rely on staff, and nothing against staff, everybody's very busy, but we can't have invoices sitting on people's desks.
I agree.
We've got to figure out how to
Yeah.
mitigate this, and it keeps happening. So at some point, if that's the case, that it's sitting on somebody's desk, then we cut it off. That there's one person at a site that orders, and if you can't plan ahead, sorry, but we're not gonna keep paying late fees and finance charges because people can't send their invoices over in a timely manner, so. Okay. With that, are there any other questions regarding the accounts payable vouchers?
Were you able to find out why we would have paid the food service fee twice?
So we didn't. She just included the invoice in both vouchers. We only issued one check.
Can we have the check listings after
Yeah.
this meeting?
I have one
Because
additional
then,
question.
wait, but I want to go back, because then our voucher, if it's in 2020 and 2019 in our viewing, then how do the vouchers balance? You're saying that if we really truly have the check listing, that check is not going to appear in both
Correct.
sections.
Yeah, and that's the problem, we don't have the checklist to,
Right.
so, yeah.
I just have one more question about the WEX fuel. We changed from, what was it, the Voyager? I'm not sure if you have this answer handy, but the monthly card charge, is that charges for having each individual card open? Like more than one card?
I honestly don't know, so I'm gonna have to reach out to John and find out more details on that.
Okay.
Okay, until we get the check listings, I'm gonna move that we do not approve these. Okay. So my motion is that we do not approve them until we get the check listings.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
So would that be considered a table, or is that just you're not approving it and we bring it back at the next one?
You can table it and bring it back to the next board meeting. Donations, there were 4 donations. I'd like to thank everybody that donated. There's always some amazing donations that come through here, and a huge shout out to Senior Taco and Juan Gonzalez for supplying the gift certificates for the kids that were on the principals list. Congratulations to those kids, and thank you to Juan Gonzalez for that amazing donation. Okay.
Alicia, I'm sorry, I have another question for you. On the donations, we see it says game overage. And I noticed that that's one of our additional deficiencies, that we're unable to support the amount of cash received. So is this an acceptable correction or corrective action plan to fix that deficiency?
I can speak to that. I talked to the Auditor General about that. We're getting rid of all cash, so that's it. The cash is gonna be done. We're finishing up the winter season. We don't charge for the spring sports, so the only thing that would have any cash would be if we hosted a state tournament game, but that's AIA, so we actually pay our employees, like AIA pays our employees to run that, not us. So we're not gonna do cash any longer. We're going to offer parents a season pass up front. They can purchase the pass, because most parents go to all the games anyway. And then it's a burden. I've always felt that way when I go to a game. I rarely carry cash, so I have to stop somewhere to get it, just to pay to get in, and it's not good customer service. So we're gonna do passes for students, passes for parents, and we'll do a GoFan or something like that, where you pay by phone if you wanna pay that way, or even have a card reader there and pay it that way through Apple Pay and tap it. But we're done with cash. I already made that decision when I talked to the Auditor General a month ago, so that's gonna be done.
Okay, but for these two, is this an acceptable method of having this
Yes.
overage?
So per the Auditor General, we tie out the cash to the tickets that we sold. Any overage, it can be reported as a donation.
So what we're saying is that we actually collected more cash than what we show in tickets.
Correct.
So somebody took money and just didn't give the ticket?
Actually, more cases than not, they say just keep the change.
They don't want the
Okay,
change.
they don't want the change.
Or they'll pay with a 20 and they'll say, I don't want any change, just put it as a donation to the school.
Gotcha. Did that answer your question?
Where was that money being recorded before? Was it just not, was it like just being recorded as ticket sales and not
Yes.
being differentiated? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I move that we approve the donations.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up are the McDowell Mountain and Middle School supplemental reading books. Are there any questions or comments regarding these books?
I'd just like to make a comment. Krista, I apologize that I didn't send this to you previously, but I actually did come in and view the books. And I know the memo says no one came in, but I did early on, so, yes. You weren't, I think you weren't there the day that I came, you were off, so. I don't know, it was early on, so I don't know, but.
COVID,
I wanted to make a comment. I wanted to thank you guys for all the steps you took to make sure that these titles were readily available, and you took every opportunity to get them in front of parents and the committee members, and so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments regarding the books?
I move we approve the supplemental reading books.
I second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
And Libby's abstaining, so 3-0-1. Motion carries. Next up is the update to the 23-24 extracurricular fees. There is one new fee for the basketball club at McDowell Mountain, which I think is wonderful. I love to see clubs come to the Littles. So that'll be $25 a quarter for them to play 3-on-3 basketball. Are there any questions regarding the additional fee?
I just have a comment because I too am really excited to see a new club at our elementary school, and I love that it's a sport one because I can't tell you how many kids were loving the running club. I did see that it says at the bottom that scholarships are available. Do we also have, I don't know if scholarships are the same thing, but like sponsorships where people can cover that for a certain
Yeah,
number
we
of students?
we typically get a couple of donors that put in a certain amount of cash at each site to help cover that, and then if not, we can reach out to donors and say that we have, this many kids looking for a sponsorship, and typically that's paid for very quickly, so it's usually not an issue.
Okay, that's awesome.
Can people pay it with their tax credits?
Yeah, because I believe because it's
It's
extracurricular.
an extracurricular club, so they could write a tax credit and designate the student.
Get them ready for high school.
All right, are there any questions regarding the extracurricular fee? Okay, hearing none, I motion that we approve the additional fee.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the information discussion items, job description of the Director of Transportation, Dr. J.
Yeah, Madam President, members, of the board, and guests. With John retiring, the district has been for many years able to have one person doing two jobs, and we just do not believe that is sustainable any longer, especially at the rate of pay. So we're very thankful to John, and we'll obviously do something for John as we get closer to the end of the year for all his efforts and work he's done for the district. So it just makes natural sense to split the positions. We do believe that transportation is is a very important position because of the fact that, it's the lifeblood of the school, getting the kids to and from school. We have a lot of kids that ride buses in this community. It's a large community as far as mileage that the drivers have to drive. And it's important that we get somebody in that position that has the knowledge on all facets of transportation. So finding someone that can do transportation and maintenance, I believe, is just going to be very challenging. So we are presenting tonight a Director of Transportation position and a Warehouse and Facilities Coordinator. So coordinator would be at the coordinator pay, director at director pay. The coordinator for warehouse and facilities would oversee relationships with the different vendors that we work with as far as keeping us up and running, looking at overseeing the staff below them as far as getting tickets done in a timely manner, the cleanliness of the buildings, annual maintenance that needs to get done, and things of that nature. So we believe this is the best split with the fact that we have to cut budget for next year.
I agree. I think it's a great idea to split it up. It was one tremendous job to begin with, and to have John do everything was amazing, but it's a lot to ask of anybody.
I agree. I think that John's job description is a lot for one person, especially because we do a lot of the bus maintenance on our own, and we do a lot of our own repairs. John has been spread very thin for many years because it's not just managing the bus drivers and the transportation and the maintenance and things, it's also doing the state reports and all the bookkeeping that goes along with that, so.
I just want to share that our transportation department is one of the best I've seen in the 25 years I've been in public ed. I have superintendents that are still talking about bus shortages, driver shortages. They can't do every route every day. We're very blessed out here to have such dedicated drivers and a mechanic that keeps us on the road at at low cost. One of our best run departments actually is transportation. So it's something I rarely deal with in my position. It just always works and it always runs well. So we need to have consistency there. That's really important in the hiring process. And I think there's a lot of reshuffling we're going to be doing with the facilities team. So starting with a coordinator and then where each person will end up in that organizational chart of that department. And as far as when we talk about some budget cuts, we're going to also be looking at how we can reimagine that department to be more effective, but also a little leaner so that we can keep cuts away from the classroom.
Thank you. Are there questions regarding the two job descriptions?
So you mentioned that there's organizational charts that kind of show the flow of.
I want to
the
create one for
positions.
that department. That's something that has not been there.
Don't have
No.
either one.
We have an organizational chart for the district, but as far as in that department, there kind of is, but I think there's a lot of room to redefine it. Now that we have we're gonna have a new person coming in that's gonna be leading that department. It's a good opportunity to redefine the whole department and make it as effective as possible. I could say that maintenance is something that crosses my desk a lot. And it's something that we need to improve upon. So that is going to be a goal for next year, is that whoever is in that position is that they have the ability to get things done in a very timely manner and manage their staff and make sure that we have the right staff in the right position. So that is something we will be looking at.
So may I ask in the future that we be provided, if there is an organizational chart
Absolutely.
that kind of outlines
Yep.
who reports to who on those, would be great.
Yep.
Can you go ahead and send the current one that we have?
Yeah, I actually think it might be in your board
In the
handbook, but I'll look, and if it is not, I will make sure you guys get it.
We updated it last year with a couple minor changes.
Probably prior to you.
Well, I saw the overall district
Yeah.
organizational chart, but we don't mention department.
Nope, and that's something we need, that's why I said that, we need to
Right
bring
now,
that
we
up.
just have the district one. So.
And the one that's in that book is correct, because when
Yep.
these three ladies came on, I updated the book.
Yep.
My only comment is that I think this is great. I feel like for a while now, John has been feeling spread thin, which is not only probably a lot on him, but a lot on our staff and the people that are kind of waiting on him to address the things. And so I think this will be really good for the district. So thank you.
Thank you. So those are information discussion items, so they'll come back at one point on the, as an action item. Future action, budget discussion. Mrs. Settle, unfortunately Tyler cannot be here on January 17th to do the budget discussion. He can come on February 7th. Would you like to move that, or would you like to proceed without him?
I'm agreeable to whatever.
Okay, I would prefer that he be here, since he has such a huge hand in finance. So if it's okay with you, we'll go ahead and do that on the 7th. On the 17th, I would like to go over the audit and the new deficiency and anything, and I would like to go over the things that have been marked partially corrected and not corrected to get an update on those, please. So please be ready on the 17th with the updated audit. I know a lot of them are IT, so if we can have an update on the IT ones as well, because those do not fall under Alicia.
Yep.
Okay. Dates of upcoming meetings, January 17th and February 7th. Both will be business meetings here at 6 PM. With that,
I move we adjourn.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?